Many people these days don't know what to play. They sit at home, just like others, and wonder. So are you. You are scrolling through your Steam library and you are not sure what to choose, what game to pick. There is really a lot of options. I can show you some really good indie games titles. Perhaps you know some of them and have played them, so let's find out.
Yeah, let's go. Wow. A game about automation? Can you tell me more about it?
After spending countless hours on the game, you might no longer know who you really are. This is one of those games where you tell yourself, okay, I will just play for an hour, only to find that dawn has arrived and the birds are starting their morning song. After automating everything you possibly can in your factory, you will be disappointed that you cannot automate your Steam review. The graphics remind me of a game from my childhood, Tropico, which isn't a drawback for me. I really like that style. You start the game by doing everything manually, but over time you begin to automate various processes in your factory. Usually players are unable to handle the chaos, resulting in a monstrous spaghetti mess. Thank you for the kind comments in the last video, and I don't know why you want me to say blah blah blah. Another game to discuss is RimWorld. It's a colony simulator where you land somewhere unknown, or maybe it is now. After all, you choose the location where you start the game. Once you land on the designated spot on the map, you can do anything, and after installing mods, you can do literally everything. Geneva Convention doesn't exist in this game, by the way. I mean, it exists if you would treat it as a checklist or a suggestion. Colonists will have mental breaks if they don't eat their meals at a table. This game is the best generator of random and absurd stories that have ever happened. Anything can happen. A cat army that will compete with your colonies for food, infestation in a colony built inside a mountain, or manhunting group of deers raiding your colony for no reason. Or just casually drop-podding a prisoner into ocean like nothing happened. Some people play it so long that they've wasted their life. Some people cannot play this game because it is banned in their country. And the summary, it's the best Australia simulator like The Sims, but in hell. Undertale. It is a game where you enter an underground world full of
What are they doing?
quirky characters, where every choice matters and every battle can be resolved without violence. The magic of Undertale is that the game that initially looks like a classic 90s pixel RPG quickly turns out to be something entirely different. A key element of Undertale is unique humor, with absurd situations such as skeletons who cannot believe they are seeing a human. The game constantly plays with your expectation, from dialogues to combat mechanics, which can be completely ignored if you choose peaceful solutions. Even enemies who would normally be foes to defeat become potential friends. The characters in Undertale are unforgettable. From the skeleton duo Papyrus and Sons to the maternal Toriel, and the sinister yet tragic Flowey. Each of these characters has their unique story and personality, making the game world feel alive and full of emotion. Let's not forget the soundtrack, which is one of the most iconic in video game history. After all, who doesn't enjoy listening to something that sounds like an 8-bit barking dog? Undertale is a game that deserves to be called one of the best indie titles ever. It is production that changes the way we think about RPGs, breaking all conventions of the genre and offering players something entirely new, an experience that is both fun, touching and sometimes frightening. It's a game you simply have to play to understand why it has garnered such a huge following around the world. And who knows, maybe after your adventure in the underground, not only will your view of games change, but so will your perspective on your own choices in real life. I assure you, this game has inspired more than one person to start their own journey in game development. Next game, Stardew Valley, a game where you play every night creating scenarios like your own home, money and wife. A game where the cure for depression is growing a vegetable. Simply a game that is a wonderful contrast to the grey reality of life. Created by Eric Baron, who made sure every pixel in this game looks amazing. How does the gameplay work? You are calmly filling out spreadsheets in Excel, your sad boss sitting next to you, stressing over whether you will make it to the next deadline. Suddenly your life changes completely. It turns out you've inherited an old rundown farm in Stardew Valley. And so you say goodbye to Excel and welcome a rural life filled with peace. Besides taking care of your farm, you start to engage with the local community. Interacting with the characters in this game is one of the best elements, as each has a unique personality. You can give them gifts, you can accept tasks for them, and what if you feel too lonely in this game? You can indulge in a romance, give someone flowers, date them, and you can even get married. The cherry on top is that the game offers multiplayer and the ability to install mods. That's why it's the game for 100 hours, filled with memories for years to come.
Wow. What an awesome game. What is the next title?
Another game, Manor Lords. It's the game that lets you live out your dreams of being a medieval landlord, with a mild case of Napoleon syndrome. Imagine starting with a tiny village, a handful of villagers and a vision that's way too big for your little patch of land. Once you give a man the ability to make shoes, he will not stop. You begin with a few buildings and a field growing. Well, it is somehow medieval. Your mission to transform this humble settlement into a bustling medieval metropolis. Managing everything from crops and trade to the occasional unruly peasants who thinks he deserves more than bread and hard labor. In this game you are a lord with a penchant for armor and an unhealthy obsession with medieval tax policies. And don't forget those neighboring lords eyeing your lands like they are prime real estate for a bit of pillaging. The game's got a lot of details, nice looking building techniques, combat and seasons that make medieval winters feel taller than your grandma's opinion on fashion. And you can rebuild skulls. There is a bit of a lack of content, but don't forget that this game was created by a single person, not counting support for some tasks like music. So yeah, keep deving, devboy.
Beetle Skittle, there is now way you have not played Hollow Knight. Like what?
I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I haven't played Hollow Knight yet, so I don't want to say too much about it. I know the gameplay from YouTube videos and stories from other people, so it is a game full of bugs. That's literally how you can describe a game called Hollow Knight. The town of Hollow Nest is filled with various communities of insects. It's a city that has ancient ruins, haunted swamps, underground cities, and even an infection that has devoured the minds of its inhabitants. You take on the role of a knight returning to Hollow Nest. You think you are exploring the map, but really you are just running around in circles for 2 hours. It's a game that makes you feel lonely, but in a kind positive way.
Beetle Skittle, how would you describe Terraria?
Terraria, if I had to describe this game in one sentence, a place where you can unleash your creativity. You start with 4 items, a pickaxe, a sword and an axe. And what you can acquire during the game? Fun examples are Terra Car, in my opinion the best vehicle in the game. The boss Eye of Cthulhu, who may seem terrifying during the battle, but in the end you can have it as a pet. Falling stars, a goldfish that forgets it's not a human and casually walks on land. You can even have a sword that shoots cats. There are plenty of biomes to explore, forests, jungles, snowy biomes, deserts, oceans and many more, each with its own unique underground areas. By meeting certain conditions in the game you can trigger various events. You might be invaded by an army of goblins, pirates or even Martians. Some events are wave-based, others involve weather phenomena like sandstorm, a party triggered by NPCs or specific battle events. Some events like Halloween depend on real-world time. The cherry on top is the bosses. The order in which you defeat them is dictated by the game. As you progress, such as defeating a boss or finding a gun, you attract different NPCs. Merchants, wizards, nurses and more. You can place them in structures you've built and then buy items they offer. You can also encounter NPCs while exploring the world. And if you ever get bored with single player, Terraria has multiplayer as well.
Do you have any roguelike games to show?
Hades, roguelike or if you prefer, roguelite. One of the best in the arcade games. It's a game where your progress isn't erased after death. And back we go to the house of Hades, which ironically is full of life, especially after you've played for a few hours. In this place you can talk to well-written characters, explore the chambers of Tartarus, or get this, you can even pet Cerberus. Of course you also have to listen to the constant grumbling of your father, Hades, in the background, since you are playing as his son, Zagreus. An ironic character, but kind to those who deserve it. You have 6 different weapons, but at the start only the sword is available. Later on you even become something like Captain America, because one of the weapons is a shield. You throw it at the enemies and it comes back to you like a boomerang. Before reaching the final boss you have 4 worlds to traverse. Adding to the game's experience is the music composed by Darren Korb, making this title truly worth recommending. The Binding of Isaac. Your initial weapon is your own tears, and you escape to the basement from your mother, who believes she's doing God's work by taking everything away from you and locking you in a room. That's how you can describe the Binding of Isaac, so what will you face during gameplay? It's certainly unconventional, you will have to fight spiders, flies and even living shit. The map is procedurally generated, so you have to go through randomly created rooms, finding random items that strengthen your character and provide many additional abilities. The magic of this game lies in the fact that every run is always different. There are hundreds of items and several characters to choose from. Referring to the thumbnail of this video, why is this game life-changing? It can make us reflect, allowing us to identify with the main character. It shows that people are forced to learn from their own mistakes and adapt to constantly changing situations. The game is filled with biblical references that can provoke the player to think about difficult topics, such as religion, parenting, guilt and fear.
What if I am starving?
What if you are starving? Just don't starve. That's literally the title and the gameplay of this game. In this game, just don't starve. It's a game where you can persuade pig-like humans to risk their lives for you. A game where you can die from a bee sting. A game where you can play as a bodybuilder who needs millions of calories, even while stranded in the wilderness, trying to survive. If you don't light a campfire at night, you will go insane and shadows will try to kill you. The game offers plenty of playable characters, including Wilson, default character with no special abilities except growing a beard that helps him stay warm. Woody, whose ex has its own personality and is cursed, while the character himself is obsessed with chopping down trees. WX78, if you play as him and get struck by lightning, you will regain health and emit light like a torch. Or Wolfgang, who cares more about his massive muscles than about surviving. And many other characters. If solo gameplay bores you, there is also the Don't Starve Together version, where you can play with your friends. To sum up, and referring to the thumbnail of my video, can games change a player's life? Absolutely, Factorio teaches logic and problem-solving skills. RimWorld, as abstract as it sounds, considering what's possible in this game, I think it teaches empathy and thought decision making. I can already imagine the comment section after saying RimWorld teaches empathy, oh my god. Undertale stirs emotions, showcasing the power of choices and love. Stardew Valley shows that a simple life building human relationships and maintaining harmony between work and relaxation can bring happiness. Manor Lords, a game where, besides making shoes, you can learn strategic thinking. Hollow Knight inspires perseverance and independence. Terraria shows what can be achieved with creativity while teaching patience. Hades tells a story of courage, determination and the importance of pursuing your goals. The Binding of Isaac prompts reflection, touching on themes of guilt and redemption. Don't Starve develops planning and adaptation skills, so yep, indie games can change your life in many different ways. And that would be all in today's video. Thank you very much and see you soon.